Have you ever wondered whether a long life is really decided by luck and genetics, or whether it is quietly shaped by the small choices you repeat day after day without anyone applauding them? I am 101 years old as I speak these words. I have lived through seasons of abundance and seasons of lack, through moments of joy that felt endless and losses that felt unbearable. Time has taken many things from me, but it has also clarified something essential. A long life is rarely built on dramatic decisions. It is built on quiet habits, steady attitudes, and a way of relating to life that does not exhaust the body or the spirit. People often ask me for one secret, as if there were a single magic answer. The truth is less exciting, but far more useful. Longevity is a pattern. It is a relationship with time. And over the years, 7 principles slowly revealed themselves to me, not because I was searching for them, but because life kept teaching the same lessons until I finally listened. The first lesson was rest. I learned early on to protect my sleep as if it were medicine, because nothing repairs a life faster or more consistently than deep, regular rest. The second was acceptance. I stopped arguing with reality. When you waste energy fighting what is, you shorten yourself without realizing it. The third was laughter. I learned to laugh often, especially at myself, because seriousness hardens the heart and tightens the body. As life continued, I discovered the power of release. I learned to let go quickly of anger, regret, and expectations that no longer served me. Carrying emotional weight for decades is far more damaging than people realize. Then came rhythm. I maintained a daily rhythm that gave my body and mind a sense of safety and predictability, even when the world outside was uncertain. With age also came restraint. I avoided excesses, even of good things, because too much of anything eventually becomes a burden. And finally, perhaps the most freeing lesson of all, I chose peace over proving myself right. I let many arguments die unfinished. I let pride loosen its grip. Peace, I learned, adds years quietly. These are not theories. They are not rules written in a book. They are the way I lived, slowly, imperfectly, and consistently. In the parts that follow, I will share each of these 7 secrets in full, exactly as I experienced them, and why I believe they mattered more than anything else. Secret 1. I protect my sleep as if it were medicine. If there is one habit I guarded more fiercely than any other, it was my sleep. Long before people talked about sleep cycles or recovery, I understood something simple. When I slept well, life felt manageable. When I did not, everything became heavier than it needed to be. I never treated sleep as a luxury or a reward. I treated it as maintenance. Just as you would not expect a machine to run smoothly without regular care, I did not expect my body or mind to function without rest. I went to bed when my body asked for it, not when my ambitions insisted otherwise. There were times when the world encouraged late nights and early mornings, but I learned to step away from that pressure. Nothing important was ever lost by choosing rest. Sleep, for me, was not just about hours. It was about respect. I respected the signals of fatigue instead of ignoring them. I respected the quiet of the night instead of filling it with noise. Over the years, I noticed that deep sleep softened my reactions, steadied my emotions, and sharpened my judgment. Problems that seemed unsolvable in the evening often looked smaller in the morning. As I aged, this habit became even more valuable. My body healed more slowly, but sleep remained its greatest ally. It kept my immune strength steady and my mind clearer than many people half my age. I did not force myself to sleep at exact times, but I honored consistency. The body, I learned, thrives when it knows what to expect. Looking back now, I believe many people grow old too fast because they live tired for too long. Exhaustion quietly shortens life, not by dramatic illness, but by daily wear. Protecting my sleep was one of the simplest decisions I ever made, and one of the most powerful. Secret 2: I don't argue with reality. It took me many years to learn this lesson, and even longer to practice it well. Reality does not respond to arguments. It does not bend because you are frustrated or offended. Once I understood this, a great deal of unnecessary suffering fell away. When something happened that I could not change, a loss, a mistake, an unexpected turn, I noticed how much energy was wasted resisting it. Anger tightened my chest. Complaining drained my strength. Wishing things were different did nothing to make them so. Slowly, I began to ask a different question. What is being asked of me now? Accepting reality did not mean liking it. It meant stopping the internal fight. When you argue with reality, you live in constant tension. When you accept it, you conserve energy. That energy, saved day after day, becomes resilience. This habit protected me during difficult years. Wars, economic hardship, personal loss. None of these improved when I fought them emotionally. But when I accepted what was in front of me and focused on what I could do next, life remained livable. Acceptance created calm, and calm kept my body from living in a constant state of alarm. Over time, I noticed something else. Acceptance shortened recovery time. I moved through disappointment faster. I adapted more easily. Stress left my system instead of settling into it. Many people believe stress comes from events, but I learned it often comes from resistance. By no longer arguing with reality, I freed myself from battles that could never be won. That freedom gave me more years than any strategy ever could. Secret 3: I laugh often, especially at myself. Laughter has followed me through every decade of my life, not as entertainment, but as relief. I learned early that taking myself too seriously was exhausting. Life already provides enough weight. Adding ego only makes it heavier. I laughed at my mistakes. I laughed when plans fell apart. I laughed when I realized I had worried for nothing. This was not denial, it was perspective. Laughter loosened my grip on perfection and softened moments that could have hardened me. There were hard times when laughter felt inappropriate, even disrespectful. Yet those were often the moments it mattered most. A small smile in the middle of hardship reminded me that pain was part of life, not the whole of it. Laughter gave my nervous system permission to relax, even briefly. I noticed that people who laugh age differently. Their faces stay more open. Their bodies move with less tension. Their hearts recover faster. Laughter releases what stress tries to store. Most importantly, I learned to laugh at myself. Pride ages a person quickly. Humility, paired with humor, keeps the soul flexible. When I stopped defending my image, life became lighter. I did not need to prove anything. I could simply live. If I had to name a secret that made life longer and more enjoyable, this would be it. Laughter does not add years loudly, but it adds ease to everyone you have. Secret 4. I have learned to let go quickly. Holding on is often mistaken for strength. In truth, it is usually weight. I learned this slowly, through years of carrying resentments, regrets, and expectations that no longer served me. At first, I believed holding on kept me safe. I replayed conversations. I clung to disappointments. I waited for apologies that never came. What I did not realize was how much this emotional storage cost me. My body felt heavier. My sleep was lighter. My patience grew thin. Letting go did not mean forgetting. It meant releasing the emotional charge. I stopped revisiting old injuries as if they were happening in the present. I stopped demanding that the past explain itself. I chose peace over memory. As I practiced letting go, I felt a physical difference. My chest loosened. My breathing deepened. My days felt longer, not because they were, but because they were less crowded with old pain. I learned to let go quickly, not because I was indifferent, but because I valued my remaining energy. Life moves forward whether you follow or not. I chose to follow lightly. At 101, I can say this clearly. Unresolved emotions age a person faster than time ever could. Releasing them is not weakness, it is wisdom. Secret 5. I maintain a daily rhythm. As I grew older, I began to understand that the body listens more carefully than we think. It listens to patterns, it responds to familiarity, and when life becomes unpredictable, rhythm becomes a form of protection. I did not live by rigid schedules or strict rules, but I did maintain a steady daily rhythm. I woke at roughly the same time each morning. I ate when my body was accustomed to being fed. I moved, rested, and slept in a pattern that repeated itself gently, day after day. This rhythm gave my body a sense of safety, even when the world outside felt uncertain. During times of chaos, war, loss, sudden change, it was this rhythm that kept me anchored. When everything else shifted, my days still had a familiar shape. That familiarity reduced stress more than people realize. The body does not like surprises. It functions best when it can anticipate what comes next. I notice that people who live without rhythm often feel ungrounded. They skip meals, sleep at irregular hours, rush one day, and collapse the next. Over time, this inconsistency wears the body down. My rhythm was not perfect, but it was dependable, and dependability is calming. As I aged, rhythm became even more important. It helped my digestion, stabilized my energy, and supported my sleep. My mind felt clearer because my body was not constantly adjusting. Rhythm removed unnecessary decisions from my day, leaving more energy for living. Longevity is not only about what you do, it is about when you do it. A simple, steady rhythm carried me through decades without exhausting me. Secret 6. I avoid excesses, even for good things. For much of my life, I watched people harm themselves not through obvious mistakes, but through excess. Too much food, too much work, too much worry, too much ambition. Even good things, when taken too far, quietly become destructive. I learned moderation not through discipline, but through observation. I noticed how excess strained the body and unsettled the mind. Overeating dulled energy, overworking shortened patience, overthinking disrupted sleep. Slowly, I began choosing enough instead of more. This did not mean denying myself joy. It meant stopping before pleasure turned into burden. I ate until satisfied, not full. I worked until useful, not exhausted. I rested before collapse forced me to. These small decisions accumulated over time. Excess overstimulates the nervous system. It keeps the body in a state of constant demand. Moderation, on the other hand, creates balance. Balance allows recovery, and recovery is essential for a long life. As years passed, moderation became instinctive. I no longer chased intensity. I valued steadiness. I did not need extremes to feel alive. I needed continuity. Many people believe longevity requires constant improvement. I believe it requires restraint. The body lasts longer when it is not constantly pushed to its limits. Avoiding excess was one of the quiet ways I preserved myself. Secret 7. I choose peace over proving myself right. This lesson came late, but once learned, it changed everything. For many years, I believed being right mattered. I defended opinions. I corrected others. I held my ground, even when it cost me relationships or inner calm. Over time, I noticed something troubling. Every argument left a residue. My heart raced. My thoughts stayed agitated. Even when I won, I felt unsettled. Being right came at a physical cost. Eventually, I asked myself a simple question. What is more valuable, being right or being at peace? The answer became obvious. I began letting arguments go unfinished. I stopped responding to every challenge. I allowed others to keep their opinions without needing to correct them. To my surprise, nothing important was lost. What I gained was calm. Peace softened my nervous system. It improved my sleep. It made conversations lighter and relationships warmer. I no longer lived in a constant state of defense. Choosing peace did not mean silence or weakness. It meant discernment. I spoke when it mattered and let go when it did not. This reduced emotional friction, which in turn reduced physical stress. Looking back from 101, I can say this without hesitation. Pride ages a person quickly. Peace slows time. Letting go of the need to prove myself right gave me years, quietly, gently, and without struggle. At 101 years old, when I look back on my life, I no longer measure it by achievements, possessions, or moments of recognition. I measure it by how lightly I moved through time. A long life, I have learned, is not built by force. It is built by care. The 7 secrets I have shared are not dramatic. They do not promise control over fate or immunity from loss. They simply protect what is most fragile and most valuable: your energy, your calm, and your relationship with time itself. Sleep restored me. Acceptance conserved me. Laughter softened me. Letting go freed me. Rhythm steadied me. Moderation preserved me. Peace extended me. None of these worked because I practiced them perfectly. They worked because I returned to them again and again, even after failing. Longevity is not about never straying. It is about coming back to what sustains you. If there is one truth I hope you carry with you, it is this: your body and your life are always responding to how you treat them. They listen when you rush. They listen when you fight. And they listen when you choose gentleness instead. You do not need to wait until you are old to live in a way that allows you to become old. These choices are available now in ordinary moments that seem insignificant at the time. Years later, they are everything. I did not live to 101 by trying to extend my life. I lived this long by not wearing it down. And if my years have taught me anything worth sharing, it is this: when you stop fighting time, time becomes surprisingly generous.